Alright, are we ready? Are we ready for my presentation?
I'm very ready.
Alright.
Are we just gonna go on your stream and watch you, or what's going on?
Oh yes, I'm on stream on Twitch. You can watch the PowerPoint. Alright.
First off, I'm gonna say I disagree with you, but we're gonna see how persuasive you are.
Oh good. This is gonna be...
When you're making judgments, you're supposed to keep an open mind.
That's why I said we're gonna see how persuasive you are.
Alright, this is my presentation on why Trolls is an awful movie by me, a child care and kids movie expert with 9+ years experience. I think I'm more than qualified to make this presentation. As someone who once had to sit through watching this movie on loop for like 5 hours. And it was running on 2 TVs in 2 separate rooms, and the kid was running back and forth between them. So I've seen this movie like a total of like 8 times. It's not a good movie.
Yeah, but did the kid like it?
I don't know if the kid was even watching it.
Well, there's a stupid kid.
Yeah.
That's why kids' movies can be bad.
That doesn't excuse them being bad, and we'll get to that. Okay, this is first I want to cover the history and creation of this movie, who made this monstrosity and why. As a brief overview, Trolls was produced in 2016 by DreamWorks. It was directed by Mike Mitchell and distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was basically just a lot of big name actors and actresses, especially those who can sing. A lot of just big name artists were in this movie.
And also someone couldn't sing.
Also some who couldn't sing. It was labeled as a jukebox musical as well as a comedy. And featured a lot of pop music and dancing. Has a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 67% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And the budget was $125 million.
Holy crap! Are you serious?
Yes. It's a lot of money.
Was licensing for the music.
Probably most of it.
I was gonna say. They wasted that much money.
This is the director. He was also the director of the first 2 Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, the second Lego movies, and Shrek Forever After.
That explains everything.
Yes.
That's my homie, man. You guys didn't like
I've got another.
No, those movies I don't mind. And the second Lego movie was good. And I've never seen Shrek Forever After, so I can't really speak on that. But I don't believe Mike Mitchell is the cause of this movie's downfall. But it may have something to do with the movie's progression and plot being very hard to follow.
I don't understand.
Now we get to where I believe the real issues started. This is the writer, Erica, last name I'm not going to pretend I know how to pronounce.
Hang on, let me wait for it to come up on the street. Yeah. Streamlabs. Rivenoha?
Yeah. Yeah, despite however you pronounce her last name, she created the story for Trolls, which, if you ask me, is where all the downfalls of this movie are. The plot of the movie is weak and often hard to follow, and this could be due to her lack of experience. She has a lot of experience in short films and TV shows that were very short-lived, being 1 or 2 seasons long. But her biggest notable thing she's ever worked on was South Park, ironically.
Really?
Yes. She was a primary producer of South Park. That was not listed anywhere I could find it. She worked a lot as a co-executive producer and not very much as a writer. From what I'm reading and what the research I did, it seems like Trolls was supposed to be her big debut as a writer and did not go well for her. I'd like to just note the time period that we're talking about, 2016. Here are some other movies that came out in 2016. Kung Fu Panda 3.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no competing with that.
Secret Life of Pets and Storks. I've seen all these movies. They're all very good movies. If you look on the screen here, I don't know where the stream's at, but if you look here, I have all the ratings of these movies, and all but one of these did better than Trolls. One of them.
Sure, but like, hang on, how did Secret Life of Pets only get 62% on Rotten Tomatoes? I thought it was a fine movie. The music was good too. Like,
We're gonna get to that. The Secret Life of Pets.
at least a 7.
The Secret Life of Pets scored the exact same score as Trolls. Here's a Venn diagram of all of the comparisons. Of all the comparisons I've made between Trolls and Secret Life of Pets, in my opinion, Secret Life of Pets is a balanced color palette that's easy and pleasing to look at for 2+ hours. It's got a very meaningful message and talking animals, which is always a plus. And it had a $75 million budget. With $75 million, they scored the same score as Trolls. What does that say about Trolls? I don't know, you tell me. Trolls was very... had Exactly. So, Trolls was very bright and colorful, which is appealing to little kids, obviously. But you can only watch that movie so many times before that color scheme starts to give you a headache. It's got lots of songs, some better than others. Big name actors and actresses and musicians. And it had a huge budget. Both movies are child-friendly comedy and have the exact same rating on IMDb and Rotten Tomato. Trolls got a sequel. Why did Trolls get a sequel? I don't understand, but we're going to talk about the sequel briefly, just because it's part of the history of the franchise. I have never seen this sequel, so I cannot attest to whether or not it is good.
I haven't seen it either, so...
Despite the poor reception of the first movie, DreamWorks decided it was a great idea to produce a second Trolls movie titled Trolls World Tour in 2020. The movie had a budget of $110 million and was produced by an entirely new cast with a new writer and new director.
My guess is that they kind of justified this through merchandising, maybe?
That would be my guess. It scored worse than the first one, with a 6.1 out of 10 and a 59% audience score. Just for reference, whenever I'm referencing the Rotten Tomato scores, I'm referencing the audience scores, because that's what I care about.
Whether the people like watching it or not.
I want to know how it was received by the general public and directed audience for this movie. I have no idea if this movie was good or not, but based on the first movie, I would assume it's very bad. I didn't want... Thank you for whoever just followed. I heard a follow, so thank you for that. Oh, hi Joe. Thank you so much for following. We do Mega Brain Mondays every Monday where we present PowerPoints, and then Wednesdays we play with whatever we feel like, and then Friday we do Fortnite. So thank you for coming. Yeah. Now we're gonna get into the plot and its many plot holes. Here's a plot summary for you. The movie's focused on trolls who live in a world that is of complete happiness. It focuses on Poppy, who's the happiest troll to ever live, and Branch, who is overly cautious. I think it corrected to cactus, but that's fine.
Overly cactus.
He's an overly cactus and grumpy troll. That's fine. I can't type.
He does have a prickly personality.
Yeah, there you go. Completely intentional.
Just go with it. It's smart writing.
It's smart writing. He's a very cactus and grumpy troll, meaning that he's very prickly and not so happy. Who doesn't take Poppy seriously. Some large goblin-esque monsters called Bergens, I think they're called, invaded the party the trolls were throwing very loudly, which Branch thought was a horrible idea, and honestly it was. And they captured all the trolls except for Poppy and Branch, who then have to go and rescue them. And there's lots of music and lots of dancing, because that makes sense.
Kids movie, yay!
Because despite the dancing and singing being what got them in trouble, they're going to continue to do it through the whole movie. So all good kids movies aim to teach a message, in my opinion. That's just a common theme with kids movies. They try and teach you very important things. Like TV shows for kids will teach smaller messages, focusing on like a smaller message per episode, like sharing or caring for others, emotional control, things like that. Movies will focus on bigger topics like the importance of family and how we care for other people, and like a bigger, broader topic. Typically, the Trolls movie aims to focus on acceptance and how things are that we think will make us happy aren't always the solution to our problems, and this message is not very clear, in my opinion. It very much just comes off as, if you're not happy all the time, then you're wrong. And I don't think it was very well portrayed. And I think that just has to do, again, with the writer's lack of experience writing kids' movies. And writing in general. There's a lot of plot holes, in this movie. They do a lot of things in this movie that have nothing to do with the main plot, making it very hard to follow. The two main characters' relationship isn't very, they don't like each other. And in the end of the movie, basically, Branch changes his entire self to get other people to like him. So I don't know what that's supposed to be teaching us. You know...
Wait a minute, time out a second. What is Branch's trauma anyway?
Branch's trauma is like he was dancing and then he got his grandma killed because of it.
Oh shit. That's a little extreme for a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But yeah, and then he's like,
I love it.
And
rather than the other trolls being like, we're sorry that happened to you, let us help you feel better, they're like, God, why are you such a party pooper, Branch? God!
They don't get it.
They don't understand him. He's not like other trolls. The music, Parker, I made this section just for you.
Oh, thank you. You know I love it.
Here's the soundtrack. A lot of the songs were written for the movie, and they're bad. They're not good. And a lot of the songs that were used for the movie, are also bad and not good. This is, Theodore, Shapiro, who designed the soundtrack for this movie, and probably wasted most of the budget paying for these songs. Music is very important in movies, and I don't think they did a very good job here. Music is like what sets the tone and the way we feel about movies for, most audiences. And yes, you would have hated this, Reed, but that's because you can't understand music. That's just your thing. But for most people who aren't Reed, music sets the tone, and they're trying to tell this deep story, and the music throughout the whole movie is just dance and have fun. But it's like, but this deep, meaningful thing's going on. But dance and have fun. And honestly, it's a whole movie with the color scheme and the music just makes you feel like you're on an acid trip. It's not good. And not in the fun way. I also would like to just note that no one talks about this. It's not even listed in the soundtrack, but they used the song Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz.
Yes,
they do.
It's technically, it's not technically part of the soundtrack, it's part of the score. And I could do a whole presentation on the soundtrack versus score. Continue.
It's not listed anywhere, no one talks about it, and I think that's just because they've acknowledged it was a poor choice, because this song is quite literally, the meaning, no one knows the exact meaning of the song, but it's often speculated to be about the meaningless of human existence and suicide and drug abuse. They put that in a kid's movie.
Yeah, no, I don't imagine Gorillaz ever being in a kid's movie.
Yeah, can we all... It was one of my favorite songs at the time, and I remember this kid's watching this movie, it's playing in the background, I'm like making his dinner for him, and I hear Gorillaz, and I'm like, what the fuck? Did the channel change? And I look up, and it's like, no, it's the fucking kids movie. They cut that song off, like, right before an F-bomb, too.
Well, here's the thing too: is it happens during that scene where all the depressed, big, ugly trolls are running around. Well, not running around. They're all like trotting around, being all sad and depressed and things. And then like they talk to this dude that like eats the smaller troll. Like it's messed up.
It's like a 1 minute scene in the movie, and it is just the most messed up thing to be put in a kids movie. And
If it wasn't a kids movie, it would have been really well used. But it's a kids movie.
Right. And this, again, I think has to do with the fact that the writer of this movie worked on adult television, not kids movies. Why? Like, know your specialty.
My guess is based on their hiring decisions for this movie. My guess is people had connections, and Pixar was. Or who did this movie?
I was also very shocked to see this. This was a DreamWorks movie. I was very shocked to see this song in a movie too because it was covered by all the people who played the trolls, and Gorillaz is famously known for not allowing covers of their songs.
Right. So this is. I'm thinking that the theme and the message for the movie was like, listen, we can animate this. The company that makes the troll dolls is going to give us like a butt ton of money. Let's just get a bunch of people who have connections and we'll just push it through.
Right, and it's very bad. This was a very, very poor choice, and every time I watched this movie, I've watched it since. I've watched this movie too many times, and every time it still shocks me.
Why do you keep watching it?
I babysit. I'm forced to watch it against my will.
It's her PTSD kicking in. She keeps replaying it in her head.
Can we talk about kids' movies appealing to adults? Who's paying for these DVDs? Who at the end of the day is choosing the movies their kids watch as adults? So when you make a movie, part of making a kids' movie is making it appealing for adults. It's why shows like SpongeBob have those adult jokes hidden in the background. That is a very important part of kids' movies, and Trolls doesn't do that. It is just all kids all the time. It's just loud and obnoxious, and no babysitter or parent is going to want to watch their kid rewatch this more than once. It is just simply like, Greg, this is the kind of movie that's meant for, I need to make dinner, so I'm going to put this on in the background so my kids will shut the fuck up. It is not meant like for family movie night. It is, and I just think that's sad.
Yeah, like a family movie.
And with a $125 budget, there is no excuse for that. Trolls. Here's the Trolls dolls. It's based off the movie. The Trolls dolls are what the movie's based off of, rather. Here's the entire history of the Trolls dolls, which summed up basically for you is a guy who couldn't afford to make Christmas toys for his daughter, so he made these originally for his daughter in the 1950s, almost 60s. And then they became really popular in his neighborhood, eventually spreading throughout all of Europe and then into America in 1970s. This is the
American. You've been fooled, bamboozled.
You've been bamboozled.
Nothing is really American.
This is the only thing relating to adults I can find about this movie, is the nostalgia of the Trolls dolls from the 70s. Nothing else appeals to adults.
Enough about that little troll to go watch this movie if it was really as bad as everyone said it was.
Exactly.
If I had heard nothing but bad things, and I was like, oh, I remember maybe having a couple of those that got lost in the attic or something, I wouldn't go see it because of that little thing.
Exactly. Thank you, Parker. This movie's just lacking. It's great for children ages like 3 to 7, but even kids who are like 8 or older might get bored very quickly of this movie. It's just so, there's so little thought that went into the plot, and so because all of their budget went into music, and the music wasn't even good. They just bought out the biggest pop songs of 2016, threw them in a movie with some bright colors, and
Did they have the Sound of Silence as well?
Yes, they did.
I loved that part. That was great.
It was an excellent song, and the cover wasn't even that bad. That's just the way they implemented it, and then like immediately cut out of it again. Like
right, there's a lot of weird cuts where they used parts of songs, like with the Gorillaz song especially. They use parts of these songs and then they just like move on, and it's really weird. It's really weird. Here's my works cited. So in conclusion, Trolls is a bad movie. It's very poorly executed. They've wasted most of their budget on buying big popular names, and not enough of the budget went to making an actually good movie that is enjoyable, and that is my professional opinion.
Your professional opinion, huh?
My professional opinion.
Well, in my professional opinion as a children's movie reviewer,
I am. I babysit so much.
You've got the credentials. You could be. You could go pro.
I might as well be pro. And it is because of movies like this that I started picking the movies that I babysat for a church group for like 3 years. It was out of someone's house. They had like Bible study night, and I would babysit their kids while they did their Bible study. And there was a point where I started picking all the movies we watched because 2 reasons. One, they wanted to watch like movies like Trolls, and I'm not about to sit through that every day, every week. For 3 years. Like, I'm not gonna watch Trolls once a week for 3 years. It's just not happening. And 2, they would pick movies like Frozen and Trolls that they've seen a million times, and then just recite the whole movie and not actually watch the movie. So I started picking old nostalgic movies they hadn't seen.
Did you show them The Princess Bride?
No. They were like 7 and younger. They were not ready for The Princess Bride.
I was thinking like 8 to 13-year-olds.
No.
So just some Wally.
We did watch Wally.
That's my favorite kids movie.
We watched Sword in the Stone. We watched Alice in Wonderland. We watched Jungle Book.
Jungle Book's good.
None of them had ever seen Jungle Book.
Really?
Yeah. We watched Meet the Robinsons.
Dude, second favorite right there.
Meet the Robinsons is by far my favorite Disney movie. Like, I loved it as a kid. I love it as an adult. It's great. It's a good movie.
I was supposed to sing that, Little Bunny, like the credit song at the end of Rob Thomas.
That's such a good song.
I was supposed to sing that at graduation when we were going to have a graduation.
Back before the pandemic.
Previously, before the pandemic.
Um, I think the telling thing is that, in my professional opinion, with less budget and a lesser known studio made Secret Life of Pets at the same time as Trolls and got the same review.
Well, and it's not as if they didn't have stars.
The studio that made the Minions movies.
Blue Sky.
Yeah.
No, is it Blue? No, it's not Blue Sky. Blue Sky is Illumination.
Yeah, that's the one. Illumination made that. Which is a lot smaller of a studio. Like, they made Despicable Me, and they have a bunch of other movies that no one knows about because all they're known for is Despicable Me. So.
Despicable Me and its following from sequels and prequels. Pretty good movies, gotta say.
No, they're known for that for a reason. They're great movies. I'm just saying they also have a lot of other good movies that people just don't know about. But yeah, they did that with less money and got just as good a score as Trolls. And honestly, in my professional opinion, is a way better movie than Trolls.
Yeah, I'd rather look at talking animals for like 2 hours than I would.
And I'm an artist, so for me, movies' colors and like the way they're animated is a big deal for me. I don't like this whole trend. There's this whole trend right now with kids' movies where it's just like, how bright and saturated can we go? Because it grabs little kids' attention. That's great and fine. But it's like, that works for kids 3 to 7, and then you're just, everyone else hates looking at it. Exactly. You're alienating people like me who are adults who like kids' movies. You're alienating older kids who are in their like late child years, early teen years, and they're like,
that's a real consideration to make because there are adults that will go out and watch kids' movies.
Right.
They like good kids' movies.
When Frozen came out, I saw it in theaters because I like Disney movies.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion, I like Frozen.
Liked it, or just like
I liked Frozen. I thought it was a good movie.
I thought it was good.
It gets a lot of hate, and I understand why it gets a lot of hate. It gets a lot of hate for the reason I hate Trolls, which is that they've seen it too many times. But unlike Trolls, it doesn't deserve that. It's just the soundtrack's a little meh, and it's like gets old really fast. But it's like this. It has a plot, it has a storyline, it has a message. That's more than Trolls can say.
This is true.
And it's like pretty unique.
It's unique.
I thought
It does not revolve about a princess who needs some guy to save her. It
that was the bonus point for me.
and the true love. The thing I really liked is the true love that saved her in the end was like the love between family and not the love between two people who are in love, which is great because it shows that like love is more than just your significant other. It is the love of family, the love of friends, the love of people, which is great.
I love corn dogs, but I don't want to marry them.
Exactly. Thank you for that analogy, Park. But that is my presentation on why Trolls is a shitty movie.
Well, it was a good one. I
Thank you.
have me very much convinced.
I still enjoyed it. I can admit it's not a good movie, but I found it enjoyable.
No, I mean, sure, yeah, there are funny parts in the music.
It is the general consensus as I was doing research. The general consensus among like people who review kids movies for the internet and stuff, like not professional reviewers by any means, but like people who do this on a regular basis, was that it's fine to sit through one time, but like the second and third time through the movie, you start to realize it's just not a good movie.
Well, and I would argue that any kids movie that you watch over and over indefinitely is gonna get old.
Well, that's true, but this one, it's like
Well, yeah, it's
this
a lot
movie
more
is just
forever.
there are flaws that make it that way instead of it just being like, okay, I'm so sick of my kid being obsessed with Cinderella. Which I say because I was the kid who was obsessed with Cinderella. But like it just was not helping its case.
You guys ever go to sites where it's like it's totally biased about like, oh, video games make people so violent, and just leave comments about just stupid things about like, I don't even know. I left a comment one time making fun of Batman's parents because they're dead.
You guys remember it was Walmart and they were reacting to some sort of gun violence thing? Like, alright guys, gun violence has been hitting a real all-time high, so we're gonna stop promoting a violent video game in our stores. We're still selling guns though.
Because that was
Dude,
clearly the
Walmart's
problem.
pretty dumb.
I didn't have the chat pulled up, so I didn't see.
Video games.
Tell me why you are not. Tell me why we are not watching this.
Sorry, I had to.
The problem with Trolls is that all the big name actors. Yeah, that kind of was the issue. To be honest,
I didn't even know there was more than two big names.
no, there were so many.
I had to go look it up afterwards because somebody was like, "Hey, this person was." I was like, "Are you sure? I don't even know."
I only knew
Like, all the-
Lautner.
They spent money making sure that all the background trolls that you hear like 2 lines out of were big name actors.
That was
Right. Well, and they probably didn't get paid a ridiculous amount for that. I mean, it was a cameo appearance.
Right, but they could have hired extras for way cheaper and then had money to hire a better writer. Walmart paid for that movie's existence. I mean, they might as well have. It would have been the same.
Honestly, though, they're making it back in the merch they're selling.
Oh, they are! They're making back so much money and I hate it. It makes me so mad.
Dude, children's movies are basically advertising for toys. Like that is a lot of times how it is.
This movie has a plot? Yeah, no, it did. It just was very unclear.
It was so bad, it would have been better. If
I thought the plot of this movie was kids begging for useless crap from Walmart. It might as well be.
Just wait till Trolls 3 comes out.
Oh my god, we don't need another one.
They're gonna sell more stuff. Parker, the reason
not gonna
why
turn
they take down good TV shows is because they don't sell enough toys.
I know, I understand how it works. I just want
Quackwin, why am I being ignored? Sorry, I didn't have the chat open because I was giving my presentation.
Good kid shows stop because they don't
Every
sell
time
enough
Ben 10 stops selling merch, they just reboot it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fucking dumb.
that's the whole game of it.
I would like some
The original
continuity in
Ben
my
10.
children.
That was my childhood stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my presentation on Trolls.
Very nice.
Thank you.